iko aje mtaani. Bien.
Unlock your full potential with Brain and Focus, a powerful supplement designed to boost mental clarity, enhance memory, and sharpen concentration. Made from a blend of scientifically proven ingredients like ginkgo biloba, omega-3, and essential vitamins, Brain and Focus is crafted to fuel your mind. Our process ensures maximum potency and effectiveness, delivering the perfect balance of brain-boosting nutrients. Take just one capsule daily, as prescribed by your healthcare provider, and feel the difference. Whether it's powering through your workday or staying sharp in life's challenges, Brain and Focus keeps you at the top of your game. Stay sharp, stay focused, and stay ahead with Brain and Focus. Brain and Focus, fuel your mind, achieve more. Go get this product at blackhotfirenetwork.com at the Sports and Nutrition Store.
Maleficent nusa fragrance, Higgin na take we advance. Say we Jovi take a chance. Funny mogul only fans. That is like a 10 November. I'm in love with one of them. Brand up go back Kiss FM. Yeah, 102 khaki band. Jovi de kwa millionaire. Alafu ni kwa billionaire. Nishike shamba over there.
The Pan-African Bliss Show with your host, none other than
high as hell. If you're here, I wish you well. Kutoka kwa block kaki na Brooklyn boy. Bill kwa danda Daron, it was stupid boy. Kombe kwa rapi go down, Steve was simple boy. Are people are me like you know bebe foolish boy. Kama nikukwekele kazi naifanya kio kelo max. Kanku chora mistari na iduki calligraph. Kitenu neza ni finesse when ya pass kupafu. Kwa sweetness kumama EDM nite Jovi Suraji. Kuliza Jovi kwa aje mtaani. Bien. Ika Lil Bro na rap kwa meka na roga na sense. Kurapi kwa deep kwa soul, still digging a bend. Atiti aditi ni champion theory, story ya kutel. Nipate kwa street na trap na kusanya Kile Brown. Kama si story ya pesa fadhela si bongi na bounce. Jovi kwa rap mfalme Kenya na Danny Crown. Na vile menyanya bazeni vile mezetike loud. Time kutoka kwa block kaki na Brooklyn boy. Bill kwa danda Daron, it was stupid boy. Kombe kwa rapi go down, Steve was simple boy.
Good afternoon, family. Grand rising. 5 minutes past the top of the hour. Welcome to the Pan-African Bliss Show, episode of today.
Black Hot Fire Radio, and you're listening to the Pan-African Bliss Show with your host, none other than Joby.
Yes, karibuni sana to another episode of the Pan-African Bliss Show. My name is Joby, of course, like you've heard it. To everyone live with us on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute, everyone with us on the radio. Hope you guys are doing amazing this wonderful Friday. Hope your week has been fantastic. The 4th day of literally April. Happy new month. Happy New Year once again to those who are still celebrating. And of course, karibuni sana to another beautiful conversation. We shall be extending with our conversation that we were talking about yesterday. Literally sharing the video that I was sharing from Lynn Ngugi, talking about the poisoning of Kenyans through pesticides that are already banned in their original country. But apart from that, we shall be discussing about the U.S. command, which is warning against the withdrawing of troops in Africa. And I think this is a target to the Alliance Sahel state and also some few countries that we've seen also, of course, chasing away the troops that actually have not been helping their country. Talking about Burkina Faso, Niger, Mali, we've had, of course, Cote d'Ivoire. We've seen, which other country? I think there's another country also recently, Chad also, I think, also did chase away the French troops out of the continent. So the US is actually coming forward to talk about this. And the question is, who who are you to talk about the matters that actually concern the continent of Africa and its people? This mediation of always things that concern us needs to stop. We don't need to see the US involved in anything that concerns us. What have you been helping us with from the beginning? Because you act like you really care so much, but there's nothing that you've really done. And that's the same question I was even posing yesterday, and shout out to someone like I think he can fire yesterday made a comment when I was talking about US shouldn't be involved in any of these matters, and he said there's a question, there's a comment he really made yesterday, and I was like, nah, the US is doing nothing. That is about Tahiti. You're saying the US, I can't remember the comment correctly, but it wasn't a nice comment. I didn't take it nicely. And my point was, what has the US done so far, as much as they're not sending funds? Yeah, that was the comment. The US stopped sending funds to Haiti since Trump came into power. But what is the US talking about Haiti currently right now? Is there any movement being made to stop this so-called gang violence in Haiti? Hell no. And along that, we shall be talking about, of course, Russia, which is accusing, of course, Ukraine of trying to destabilize the Alliance Sahel state. And if you talk about this, we have so many people who have interest of the Alliance Sahel state because of the resources. And we know that including Ibrahim Traoré, these people have held a tight belt and they've taken complete control of their country. They mean business and no nonsense. We should also talk about what is happening in Juba, where Museveni is in Juba, and this, of course, despite the accusation we've seen coming forth and forward from South Sudan people, literally the Sudanese people, talking about how Uganda should not be involved in this, but this is actually happening, and so many people are being genocided, because of what Uganda is actually doing, which the US is also deeply involved. And last but not least, we shall talk about what is happening also in Niger regarding the Alliance Sahel state. So as we get started, literally I want to start with this video that I was sharing yesterday. I think that's where we should start, so I can be able to just get rid with it, so you can finish the conversation once and for all, and then we'll be getting into what the US has to say, Russia, Museveni, and also the UN. But before that, we have Keith in the building. Karibu sana, Mr. Blackwood Fire.
Hey, what's going on, Jobin?
I'm good. You?
I'm all right.
All right, Karibu sana. So I'm going to start with this video I was sharing yesterday of Lynn Ngugi and this guy who was explaining about how Kenyans are dying through pesticides. And we checked one of the dangerous chemicals is the glyphosate, which actually we've seen it has been banned in countries like France, Italy, Thailand, Sri Lanka. And the question I left behind, which I'm still questioning, why is this being pushed to Africa? Why is this agenda being pushed to Africa so bad if the rest of the countries, don't want to deal with GMOs, don't want to deal with these pesticides, don't want to deal with, their cows being vaccinated. But I think also countries we're talking about, these people are producing lab meat. So let's not forget about that. So they're trying to also push some traditions and cultures that are not really ours. And if we're not careful, like I was saying yesterday, Africans, we're going to find ourselves again adapting some things and cultures that are not really, really ours. If you're not really, really careful if you don't go back and understand that agriculture serves a big purpose in our lives. This is our lives we're actually talking about, because what you eat is what you are. Like this guy was saying even yesterday, what you eat is what you are. So if you eat fucked up food, literally you're gonna end up being fucked up. If you eat all this meat they're trying to push that contain the mRNA, if you drink the milk and all that, your kids, yourself, you're gonna be messed up in the next coming years, And we've seen, of course, how the Japanese literally scientists are coming out with information of the dangers of these VSCCINEs, and we need to be very, very conscious, because your president is not telling you the truth, your members of parliament are not telling you the truth. These are people who are working for the globalists, if you're gonna say, or the elites, however you'd love to call them, so we have to be very, very careful if we don't, so that we cannot fall in this trap. Basically, that's all I can say. But as we get started, let me share this.
Look at our farmers in Meru, in Nyeri, in Muranga, and elsewhere, even in the coast region. When it comes to spraying, they use the usual knapsack. Sometimes these knapsacks are leaking. Some of them have been inherited. Some of them are shared between neighbors. You'll find someone asking you, please lend me your knapsack.
Yes.
he doesn't even know what you had sprayed with his knapsack.
Yeah,
So I might
I
have
know the knapsacks. Personally, I loved playing with that thing when I was young. I loved putting water there, practicing how to pump the pesticides, the original pesticides that are supposed to kill the weeds and all that with the plants. So personally, I really loved playing with that thing when I was really young.
used glyphosate. Then my neighbor borrows me the knapsack. So he's going to spray now to his cabbages,
Yes.
and now he's going to. You want to spray, let's say, you want to spray, let's say, bestox, which is used to, to curtail cutworms.
Okay.
So I had used my farm. I had used glyphosate. He borrows the knapsack. You want to use bestox, and there are some substrate that remained after I used my knapsack earlier on. So you find all these substrate and residues will, at the end of the day, flow to these cabbages and these sukuma wiki, which now Lynn here in Nairobi, in the evening when she's going home, she'll walk by the market, buy some sukuma wiki,
Yeah.
buy some tomatoes. And when she buys them, then she ends up poisoning her family, not knowingly, unknowingly poisoning our families. And our farmers, I try to understand that they're doing this because they do not have.
Actually, I'd say the Kenyan farming has become super bad, and it's sad that I have to say this, but it's the reality. To the point where people now don't have lands to practice agriculture and all that because we're still dealing with colonialism effects of us trying to get our lands back. What I've seen is that so many people, so that you can fit in the market business, let's say if you are a kale seller, a spinach seller, or maybe a cabbage seller, most of these people have gone now to the sewer lines. When I say most of our sukuma wiki or kales or spinach and cabbages come from sewer lines, it's that pathetic and very shameful to even say. But this is the truth. Most of the kales that are on the market and the spinach, if you're not really careful, and again, if you can't tell the difference between the fucked up kales and spinach, because personally I know the original kales and I know the genetically modified kales, and which majority are the ones planted on these sewer lines, because the seeds, number one, are readily and easily available. You can get them maybe at a cheaper price. So if you just go throw these seeds somewhere where the land is really fertile and there's plenty of dirty water, you in the next few months you're gonna be able to go to the market and sell this without feeling any guilt. And that's how bad I'd say our humanity, or I don't want to talk about this. I don't think this is all about internal racism. This is all about survival. If I try to look at it, this is not about internal racism. But again, it's bad because you're doing something that is not allowed to be done. It's not something that is good for the health of people. But to survive, that is majority of what the farmers. Again, we talk about the level.
Yeah, it's about survival. It's not about
Yeah.
it's not about internal race, it's about survival.
Yeah, if you talk about the level of illiteracy, I think that is also where it is involved, because I don't understand why you have to take the genetically modified seeds to sewer lines. And I think personally, I'm going to record this because I've seen this even in the most of the places around the neighborhood here. You'll see really healthy, nice kills. You're like, wow, this really looks nice. But if you look at where the water sources are coming from, it's all sewages, which is so pathetic.
The information which is relevant for them to be able to make well-informed decisions and to prepare safe food for the Kenyan people. So as a country, and I think the main reason actually why our healthcare and our insurance cover for the healthcare remains at the deathbed is because we should be healthy right from what we eat. So we should not be burdening our hospitals and our healthcare insurance cover if our government and our people were very keen into protecting the safety of the food that lacks the Kenyan table. I think as a country, we will be so much healthy, and we will not, because most of the time you find most of the patients who rely on these insurance covers are people who've acquired these diseases in the course of their practices or their daily lives, especially the farmers. Go to KNH, to Kenyatta National Hospital. You'll find most of these farmers with these cancers and so many other diseases. For some time in their life, they've been farmers. They've been actively interacting with these chemicals unknowingly. And after 20, 30 years down the line, they now start, these active ingredients. which are very cancerous. They now activate, and these
So
farmers
I
now.
feel like basically what it's trying to break down, if you look at the cancer rate right now in Africa, is increasing also because of the food, all these pesticides, which are very, 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 bad to our bodies. If you talk about us, of course, the GMOs, we know they are bad. Personally, I love taking this because of how, Keith, you talk about how it has fucked up most of the Black American women's body. Not all of them, of course. And I'd see if most of the videos personally I've seen.
Not just their bodies, our bodies, the black man's bodies too.
Yeah, also white people, because there's some videos
Oh,
I
of
personally
course.
always bump into. You look at a teenager who is maybe 13 years old, and you look at the body, you're like, hell no, there's no way you're 13. This is crazy. You look so big. So that really, the obesity and all that, you can tell where it really comes from. If you look at also Africa, this is what they're trying to push to us, because number one, we're healthy eaters. So why are you trying to push disease? Because the moment you have obesity, this comes with the heart diseases, this comes with the blood pressures and all that. So now you're gonna be going for regular checkups, which is again you falling into their system of money making scheme, them making money off you. So it's just this is crazy. So I feel like what is basically trying to say is where the cancers also, where Kenya is highly promoting us being infected, or African countries that are run by puppets, they are promoting cancer diseases in the continent, literally.
Now have again now
Of course.
to rely on the state. So we are burdening, or rather,
It's crazy because I try to figure out, being honest, when I talk about cancer too, I always sit down and try and ask myself, like, what is it that maybe my mom was eating that was fucked up? Or could it be oils? Because also the oils, we know they're also messed up. That's why personally I don't mess with red.
The seed oils, the stuff she put on the skin, depending on what kind of if your mom straightened her hair, if she
Oh, yeah. Okay.
yeah,
But this is
that shit
breast
can.
cancer. This is breast cancer. When I was trying to look.
All that shit goes to your cancer is cancer, Joe. No matter if
Mhm.
it's breast or this, all these things pay a tribute if you get any kind of cancer.
Okay.
Yeah, it
So
doesn't matter where it ends up at.
cervical cancer can also be caused due to the food you eat, not
All
because of
food,
sanitary towels.
everything is food and stuff you put on your body. Could be towels too, food
Mm-hmm,
and what you put on your skin over any given time. But
mm-hmm,
before it becomes cancer, you should see the body reacting to it and say, "Hey, your
yeah,
body always sends you alerts, Joby." So
yeah,
a lot of people don't pay attention to them, but your
true.
body sends you alerts. Say, "Hey, this is fucked up. Get it
Mm-hmm,
together." A lot of people
mm-hmm,
like, "Oh, there's a little soreness there, or itchy." Oh, it's your body telling you something's not right. And
mm-hmm,
stop doing whatever you're doing and correct it. Your body
mm-hmm.
sends you a message. Because cancer's not really bad. Cancer is telling that your body's messed up and now you need to solve it. Now, if your mother knew anything about fasting, if you fast, she should have fasted for like a week. Don't eat nothing and just drink water. That's it. No juice, no nothing. Water.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. You could get rid of the cancer just by fasting, but they don't want you to know none of that. But as soon as you start taking the poisons, you out of here. So you start taking that chemotherapy and that other stuff, radiation, you're done. You can't cure poison with poison. The cancer is telling you that something's wrong. It's not going to kill you unless you correct what's happening. And the way to correct what's happening is to is to detox your body. Your body's full of toxins. So the first way to detox your body, Joby, is to fast.
Okay.
Uh,
All right. I didn't know about that, but thank you for passing that information. Personally, I think also shout out to her. I remember her telling me how to regularly, and also shout out to Shmani. She always tell us most of the times to go for checkups. There's this hospital she goes to. There's free checkups of cancer. But I've been taught also myself how to, for women, this is how you're supposed to lie down on your back, like go circular on your breast to see if there's any lumps. Because that's what I saw my mom, just like you're saying. The signal was sent, but she ignored. Because we saw a lump, and then she was like, it's nothing big. Maybe let's see, maybe she said it's a boil, maybe it's a boil, it's gonna burst and all that. And
uh,
within months, realizing it had already grown, it's becoming painful now. She has to go for surgery. So I wish she knew all that, but understanding now that also all the foods we eat, because I've also had an auntie, I'd say a grand auntie, if that makes sense, literally an auntie to my mom who died because of cervical cancer. So I'm like, And then I also had an uncle grandpa who also died of throat cancer. So you look at it, I'm like, for him, he was smoking a lot. I don't know about the other auntie. Looking at my mom, she was someone who practiced eating actually a lot of traditional foods. Like occasionally would eat traditional foods a lot. So it's crazy. If I think about it, maybe it could be the oils especially, because she was really those different type of lotions and all that. So could be that.
We are abandoning our healthcare because of being negligent as to what comes to our dinner table. We've allowed proliferation of so many highly hazardous pesticides into our market. So back to glyphosate.
Yes.
Glyphosate, as we said, has a Roundup, which is mostly used to dry, and then the farmers will not till, and then they plant. In the US, there are a number of cases which have been decided on glyphosate. One of them, even recently, last week on Friday, there was a case of John Barnes. John Barnes was awarded $2 billion in both punitive damages and compensation because he did acquire cancer, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, from the use of glyphosate. And in Kenya, it's just that we do not have, or our farmers do not even know that some of these diseases are as a result of the use of these chemicals. But there are so many. In the US currently, there are 1,777,000 similar cases to the case of John Barnes, because the farmers have started to know, and they can now, the chain of causation, they're able to know that my use of this chemical is what has led to my situation, and they move to court. And Monsanto understands that. In fact, they have set aside $12 billion for compensating.
They've said what?
They have set aside $12 billion to compensate people who will come with claims of saying that my use of glyphosate has led me to acquire or has led me to have these.
They know all these poisons are killing. That's the people that set it up have set up all these things on purpose. Understand? There's a doctrine between the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds that they were going to put poisons in everything, from foods to everything, for depopulation. So this is what this is what you're going through. The African being, sadly enough, behind educationally, and also the system that's been designed is completely wicked in Africa because of the corruption and your legislators, of course, your MPs and your presidents are all on the take. They're all corrupt and bought out, so they'll just do the bidding of whatever someone tells them to do. And if you don't have the knowledge, just like Joby showed that video, these guys stoning somebody because they just told them Jesus black. You talk about a level of stupidity that's going to allow you to be murdered because you don't know anything. It's a level of not knowing nothing. This is so dangerous how they've left Africa with way colonialism has left Africa really just defenseless because the amount of ignorance is on another. The amount of ignorance is just on another level. To me, the ignorance in Africa is criminal. It's criminal because when you don't know anything, there's no way you can protect yourself from predators. Europeans are predators, and you don't know anything.
That's true. That is true. If you talk about actually looking at the term you're using, predators, because I'm trying to sit down and ask, because it's talking about the US. If the US has serious regulations when it comes to glyphosate, where they can even compensate their people who are affected by this. So again, I've mentioned the countries that don't use these pesticides. I've mentioned France.
No, they're legal because they know they're legal. They're legal. So why they still bring that? They're legal because they know the health risk that they cause, Joe. They know the health risk or killing people. This is already well known, but you still bring it to Africa because all you gotta do is pay up a politician because Africa's whole system is corrupt. So I pay up a politician, I pay up the president, and they'll push it to the people who have no idea that this stuff has already been outlawed all over the world. So and they just don't have. Africa hasn't built the facilities to even educate people properly. So you're just prey to predators. It's like you being it's like you in a field full of lions and your ass is a newborn a cow or something. You're gonna get eaten.
It's crazy. It is so crazy. But I feel like Loki, just trying to look at it, despite the countries mentioned, maybe if this makes sense, since the agenda is the same globally, right? The population. What if
Of
this the
course.
ban is just for the this is just for the gazette? I love calling it for the gazette. What if the banning of all these pesticides is just for the gazette, but it's really happening on the ground? Because the US is mentioned, where it's still happening, actively happening. You find probably in France also it's still actively happening, but
What they do, they change the name. They'll be slick, so they'll change the name, and try to repackage the same poison
mm,
because
nice.
they know you know the poison, so they just change the name and bring you the same poison.
Makes
You know,
sense. Makes sense.
And sickness.
Is that public knowledge
It's
that they've?
public. It's public knowledge.
It's in their website.
It's in their website. You'll
What have
find
they said?
they have set aside $12 billion for compensation for being able to
Yeah.
compensate such kind of cases. So they are.
You're gonna be compensated after you're dying. You know, this is just so crazy. You're gonna be
they,
compensated when you're dying. So until you get to the point where now you're a cancer patient already, you can't undo this. You can't. Of course, you can reverse it, but how many Africans have the knowledge of what you're talking about? You need to be fasting. Most of the people, they think about is I'm dying. So all you think about is chemotherapy, radiotherapy, and all those the medications that are all aligned when it comes to you being a
yeah,
cancer patient.
yeah, because you're not taught real. Yeah, because you're not taught real health, Joby. So if you don't know real health, that's what you're gonna do. You don't. You're not being taught. Nobody's been taught real health. You haven't been taught that most. You haven't been taught real health, but then you're another thing. You idolize your
Mm-hmm.
you idolize your enemies. So you idolize your enemies, and your enemies have always been prey. They've always been predators, and you are the prey.
It's a big problem, and we need to tackle this as a continent, because white people, just like the video you shared with me the other time, white people already, they know, and they have been knowing the love we really have for them, and this is why it's so
Of
easy for them
course.
to us any bullshit. Like, this is why it's so easy for them to come as missionaries in any country, start some bullshit of preaching, vaccinating all of your children in the village, and then getting them
Yep.
killed, and there's nothing that is going to happen to them, because again, they understand the white, they understand very well the white privilege. I was
Yep.
looking at a video in the morning which was talking about uh
Talking about what?
yeah, so I was looking at a video which in the morning it was talking about actually it was, well, this guy was being called out for not taking care of his daughter. What is his name? This guy was being called out. You guys remind me of his name.
Umar Johnson,
Umar, exactly. So he was
Doctor
talking about,
Umar.
yeah, he
That
was.
that bum ass con man.
Yeah. So I bumped into one of his video today in the morning on Instagram, which kind of made sense. He was talking about where black women, we need to stop pressuring our men to giving us that type of lifestyle we have imagined in our heads, because we have the white supremacy which is in full control, and
I've been said that. I told you that. I said, I
the
think that
black
dude be
man,
listening.
the
I've been
black
told
man,
you.
mhm. The black man is gonna work as twice as not as the way the white man is supposed to work, so that they can be able to give the lifestyle the white woman gets from his white man, because there's that white privilege. The white women understand the white privilege, which is of course under the white supremacy, and the white men are going to give their women everything they want, because the system protects them and serves them. When it comes to the black people, your women, as the women, we're projected to go against the men, while the men is being dealt with by the white supremacy, not to be able to give the lifestyle
Yeah.
that actually the wife or the black woman is supposed to get. So,
That's what I said during the show a couple of weeks ago. That's what I told you.
mhm.
I said you've been taught to believe as if you're dealing with a fair system. You're not. You're dealing with a system that's based in white power and white supremacy. So the idea that the black man's gonna be able to give you what the white man can give his white woman is absolutely stupid. You're looking at because he doesn't have the same opportunities, and he hasn't built. He's not been allowed to build the same kind of economy. The economy is based on white power globally, not just in America, globally. The people that run Africa, not black people. They're white. The companies that run Africa are white. They're not black.
Exactly. But on the rest of that video, I'm gonna share on WhatsApp family if you guys would love to continue. I think it's just he's mentioned the most important things personally I wanted to listen to, and the rest is just the obvious of what the Kenyan government is benefiting, who is benefiting from this, the different chemicals that we're using that are banned and all that. But again, like I've said, this should be a normal knowledge to us as a continent, being honest. Again, this should be just normal knowledge, but because even the fact that these skills are taken away from us from school, but simple things is just even planting of trees. Personally, I've said, I remember us growing up, we used to plant trees. We never used to have this holiday that you see now. Kenya has a whole holiday of tree planting every goddamn year. This is what we were talking about on Monday, on Friday, last week on Friday, about the holidays. There's so many and so unnecessary. The economy is not thriving by us sitting down and enjoy every holiday after every month or after 2 weeks. It's not working. So I remember us growing up personally, it used to be part of our program, part of our curriculum, where
What's that?
it used to be like an homework, right? You need to come with a certain tree, or you're given a specific tree which you're gonna plant in your school, or you're gonna go to a certain region, and you're supposed to be planting trees.
Was good? What's actually
Yeah,
good? But now the
this is
Europeans are trying with their new fake model, saying that trees are bad, but that's a non. Trees are trees are the lungs of the planet. But see,
imagine.
they're trying to disturb exactly. So they come with a new fake system again to have you
Mhm.
follow their nonsense again.
So the fact we've stopped practicing this now, and we've seen, of course, the deforestation, which has been very active in many African countries. About a country like, let's
Exactly.
say, South Africa, it's very affected by logging and all that, and then the rest of the countries. In Kenya, what is happening with this holiday of tree planting? Actually, it's not even. Again, it goes back to the beneficiary. Who's the beneficiary? It's the same people with this agenda of 2030, 2025, climate change bullshit, carbon emission bullshit, and all that. So we actually we're doing this is just so crazy. This is where again we talk about modern slavery
Exactly.
still being very active in Africa. We're being used to do the bidding of the white man without even us understanding. Do you know how crazy this is? I just thought about it
Exactly.
like I'm like, hold on. Wow, this is crazy. So Ruto set up a whole holiday. So we're going to be planting trees, but it's not benefiting us. This is benefiting the
Exactly.
white man. And then you want to talk about this is not still slavery. Someone is using you to benefit of you, your effort,
Well,
off your back.
well, of course, until they
Wow.
got the not, well, until people have knowledge like you, Joe, we understand
Wow.
Africans, most Africans are kept ignorant, so that's on purpose. So that's why it's the whole thing with the school fee nonsense. you know, that's that's the reason why Africa doesn't have power. Why do you think it's 2025 and the lights keep going up all around Africa? That's to make sure you never develop to able to to manufacture, because all the stuff that the world manufactures comes out of Africa. So if you start manufacturing, you're gonna gain power, and everybody else is gonna be subject to you. That's why it's not an accident that power doesn't work right now, because it's sabotaged on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this not just negligence. This is sabotage on purpose, because I'm trying to make sure you don't develop. I'm trying to make sure, so all these systems that are created are created against the African. So that's why your education is bad. Then if you do get education, it's bad. And then if most times you can't afford it because you got to pay school fees. You're like, school fees? Why the hell am I paying taxes then? Your taxes supposed to pay for your school, not me paying taxes and pay for school too. So all these systems that make sure Africans remain on the bottom, and the ignorance keeps you on the bottom, so everybody else can parasite off of Africa's resources. And then, so that's the whole scam. So then also, that's why I bring y'all these diseases, because I still want, it's about the resources again. If I get rid of you, I get the resources without even having to worry about you.
True. It's crazy, man. But as we talk about control and power, so we have the U.S. commander, I think it's the commander, and who has actually come forth to talk about how African countries are chasing out, of course, the troops that have been planted there, not doing anything, but of course, keeping us in check that we're really doing, of course, the bidding of the white man, which is them exploiting our resources. How that Africans working, getting $2, or 2 cents. Of course, we don't
That's
understand the
it.
value of our resources. So we have,
Exploitation.
yeah, it's the audacity. And then this is, I think I was having this, I don't know, I can't remember who I was having this conversation with. And I love the way Nigerians are talking about it. The audacity. It's always the audacity that these people have, right? This is
Because they've been treating you like this for so long, Joe. Okay, the same audacity. I always got to go back to Tanzania. It's the same audacity that you got in Tanzania. That man was like, he just figured you was going to go for all that nonsense he was telling you, you know, because the African has been going for this, has been allowed everybody to mistreat him and treat him like shit.
Mm-hmm. So let me share this. So they're calling out, of course, the troops that have African countries that have been withdrawing the troops, of course, from their countries. And I think this is a target, of course, when it comes to the Alliance Sahel state. Let's not act like the rest of the world is watching. If Africa is not watching, the rest of the world is watching what the Alliance Sahel state is doing, and majorly Burkina Faso. Niger, of course, we've seen they've just, of course, put in Tiani as the president. Mali, we have to see more different moves, but it's on the right path. But this is because of the Alliance Sahel state. If you Africans are not watching, you need to understand the rest of the world is not sleeping as you. They are watching what is happening here. So wake up.
As the United States, under President Donald Trump, reassesses its military engagement in various parts of the world, the head of the U.S. Africa Command has laid out the case for maintaining troops in Africa. General Michael E. Langley says U.S. AFRICOM engagement on the continent is crucial for countering threats to the U.S., while at the same time strengthening partnerships and promoting stability.
What stability? They have been causing instability in this country. We don't want any stability coming from the US, no UN, no AU. Personally, as Joby, I'm speaking on behalf of Africans. We do not want stability coming from the US. It's instability. You're using American taxes to fund wars globally, claiming it's stability.
Exactly. That's what you're found that from the USAID. Exactly. It's
You
all.
guys just bombed the Houthi. I don't know the Houthis or the Hutus. I don't know
The, no, it's the Houthis, Joey, in Yemen. Yeah, which is illegal. They've been exactly. So this country, the America doesn't accept they have any stability. It's a crime organization for power and resources. It's resource extraction. So what you're seeing is double talk here again. Nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
Nonsense. They don't believe in no stability. The thing is to destabilize you so they can steal the resources and make a few people rich. It's to keep the wealthy at the top and to keep the system of unfair giveaways to white people as they can do. That's what it's about.
Yep.
Africa remains a nexus theater from which the United States cannot ship its gaze. It is home to terrorists who take advantage.
And you always get a bootlick Nick. Yeah, he's a bootlick Nick. But this is because they already fired. Trump already fired his ass. He got fired. So this is the Marine Corps general right here. I think he was the chief. I think he was the secretary, the chief of staff of the military, right? So I think Trump fired him, called him a DEI hire because he's black, right? Even you bootlicks haven't learned. So this is a bootlicking Negro in the military that climbed his way up the military. So he became the highest rank. So he was the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. I think that's him. We see him saying, yeah, he's the chairman of Joint. So he got fired, right? Yeah, see, he was the chairman. So he's a U.S. U.S. Marine Corps commander. So he was the top military guy. So he was the CEO. I mean, the Joint Chiefs of Staff general. So that means he was the top general in all of America. He was the number one. He was the highest ranking official in all of America. He was the highest. this bootlicking Negro here. Trump fired him, so he's a DEI hire. He said this Negro can't be the highest. This Negro, so they fired his black butt.
You know, it's crazy because it's always the coons also who don't even have, like you've been saying, you call them the tethers, yeah?
But he's not a tether. He's an American. They call the tether. The tethers were called the foreign Negroes. Joe. Like you would be called a tether. You Nigerians, Jamaicans, Haitians, the ones that were not born in America, the ones that were born, the other Africans that were born outside of America called tethers who moved to America, like the Jamaica, like George. But George Guy don't live in America. He lives in Canada. But if George Guy lived in America, he would be a tether. Like he's a foreign Negro, or the Kenyans that are here in America have been here for like 30 years. Those are tethers. Or the Nigerians that are here, those are tethers. It's a derogatory term that these morons are using, calling them tethers. Saying we gotta watch these tethers because they're saying that the tethers are always bootlickers. They're the ones always helping white power. These are always the tethers. These bootlicking handkerchief head Negroes. But he's not a tether. He's still a bootlick, right? He's not a tether. But they Tariq is just saying that tethers are most likely to love white power and to hurt other African people to help white people. That's what they say when they say that. Say these foreign Negroes are always the worst. They never fought white power. They always want to suck up the white power. And sadly, that's been true. That's been the case, especially Nigerians, Ghanaians, Jamaicans. They come here and they just lick white ass. So but not everybody, but the majority, because they don't want to go back to their business. They don't want to go back to Jamaica. They don't want to go back to poor Jamaica. They don't want to go back to Ghana. They don't want to go back to Nigeria. So they lick white butt. But see, but we still got a coon class here because that's how white supremacy does. It sets up its coons to protect its power. And even though he's been a good boy, he's might have been in the military for 40 years of his life. He's been a good boy playing the game, and then white power still comes back and smacks him in the face. He said, "You're black. You're a DEI hire. You're not supposed to be the highest general in America."
It's crazy. So let me share what he had.
Advantage of conditions in Africa to grow and export their ideology. ISIS controls their global network from Somalia.
See, that's what I'm saying. See, pause. See, we say, he's lying. Say ISIS. So we know the USAID, but I've been told you, but they proved themselves. So that's how this like last year, 2 years ago. So we know he's lying that the United States created ISIS. So it ain't no Somali controls no ISIS. We created these terrorist groups, and he knows that. So what he's just saying is just doing propaganda. He's lying. Well, you can't believe nothing they say. He's lying. And of course, when I was in the Marine Corps, this no good bootlick would have been over me. He would have been my commanding officer. I had to follow his orders. This bootlicking ass Negro here. Go ahead, Joe.
Actively works to change the international rules-based order as a stepping stone to become the global hegemon. And it's where the Russian Federation seizes opportunities created by chaos and instability. Now, to protect our homeland and the United States interests, we must deter these nations and their malign actors.
I didn't say, pause it, Joey. I didn't say it wasn't beautiful. I said they called tethers. And just like Cassie Williams just told you, yeah, we call Roland Martin and Joy Reid a tether. Exactly. So exactly. We would call her a tether. Exactly right. So we're talking about the foreign Negroes. Okay. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm looking at some Zenobia. I'm not talking about whether they good or bad. I'm just saying the rhetoric that the FBA's use. This fake group that Tariq has founded, right? So they call foreign Negroes tethers. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying whether they're not beautiful people or not. I'm saying what they call them. Like if General Mosquito came to America, he'd be a British Negro. They call him a tether, and we had to check his paperwork because these tethers have sold out Black Americans. So that's what they talking about. We're starting to check people's paperwork to see if you Or you gonna fight with us, or you gonna fight against us or fight with us. That's what they're talking about. There's no milk up in here. Sheesh. Where all the milk went at? They got rid of all their milk. This thing broke or something? Mm. These things. So
At the
that's
Senate Armed Services Committee, the meeting comes as Secretary of State Marco Rubio is in Brussels seeking to reassure NATO allies about the US commitment to the alliance.
All about the Alliance Sahel state. That is what they're much concerned about. They're concerned about them losing control of resources, not building their private airstrips here anymore, taking in and out what they can.
They've always lost power. And the thing is that everybody's starting to see it now. Oh, they got some milk. There's no way to hide no more, guys. Everybody sees it, that Israel controls America. Ben said that. There's nowhere to hide now. It's all out in the open. You see it on TikTok. I see it on YouTube. Everybody seems to finally understand that Trump is just a puppet. This is all for Israel. And Israel has been controlling the United States since 1913, since they made it the fake bank. Right? The fake bank that we're under. So understand, all these wars are Israeli wars. Now we're going to go fight Iran. Iran never did nothing to us. And that's why they bombed the Houthi, Joby. we called them the Hutus. It's the Houthi.
It's because I can pronounce the name correctly. I've been trying to get that. The Houthi, I don't know, man. But yeah, you got it. Whatever.
It's the Houthis. It's the Houthis.
But yeah, so the next conversation, as we talk about steel power, we have Russia accusing Ukraine of also trying to destabilize the Alliance Sahel state. I think it was this week I did read about them trying to assassinate, of course, Ibrahim Traore again, which of course is I'd say the 50th. I don't know which number it is, but he has escaped so many assassination attempts. But let me share this as we get to continue, as we listen.
Following talks with his counterparts from the Confederation of Sahel States, Sergei Lavrov accuses Ukraine of trying to wreak havoc in the region. Some players outside the Sahel continue attempts to destabilize the region. Besides former colonizers, this also includes the recently emerged Kiev regime, which openly supports terrorist groups in this part of Africa, while its Western sponsors turn a blind eye to it. Its allegations echoed by the Malian foreign minister. We have common views on fighting insecurity and terrorism in our region, which is supported by foreign state sponsors and regional actors from our area, which continues to serve as a rare base and support terrorism, which we need to fight against. It includes Ukraine at your doorstep here, which we consider simply a terrorist state.
Of course, we know Ukraine killed some group of civilians. I think it was civilians that is in the border of Chad. Was it Chad and Mali, if I can remember correctly? But I remember, yes, there's literally a Russia Wagner group that literally ended up bombing so many. If I can remember correctly, the details very well, there were so many people who were killed, and Ukraine was really deeply involved in this. So, of course, they are being used to destabilize the country. But again, I'd say it's not just Ukraine. We have so many people who have interest of Africa. Russia being also involved. I love saying
the whole world.
Yeah.
It's not just Ukraine. The world can't survive without Africa. So that's why you see all the wars and all the false thing that dude was talking about. Oh, the terrorists and the ISIS. This is all fake. It's all nonsense. See, Africa has been asleep for the last, with the tribal nonsense. They've been fighting against each other, and it's allowed Africa to get dominated by other people who have built their whole economies off of Africa. So, but like I said, there's a knowing starting to happen. Everybody's starting to see. Like I told you, Trump is a puppet for let's say for the hats. That's why he's bombing the Houthis. That's why all these other individuals send this all the hats for all these terrorists. And it's funny, why don't these terrorists ever attack Israel, Joe? None of these terrorists ever attack Israel. Never. None of these terrorists never attack it. The ISIS, the Al Qaeda, the Al Shabaabs, none of them ever attacked Israel. Isn't that funny? Isn't that weird? They never attacked Israel. Ain't that funny? Suppose that's the enemy, but they never attacked Israel ever. So what you see here now is that America through Israel, because Israel shout out to Sex. Let me share this video before you end because he just texted. I'm just on tonight's show. Let me send this to you. I want you to play this real quick. Let me send this to you real quick.
Okay.
Go ahead and continue that real quick. I'll find this video.
All right.
Mali has already severed all diplomatic ties with Ukraine. That's over allegations that Kyiv aided an attack by armed groups in the West African country, which left several Malian and Russian mercenaries dead.
Yeah, so that is what, of course, the Malian and Russian mercenary, whatever they mentioned, dead. So, of course, you can see they did commit crimes over there, and they're still here trying to do more damages. But again, we shouldn't be that much trusting, of course, Russia. I hope the Alliance Sahel state also has a keen eye on what is happening with Russia's interest that is in their country. But on the last two conversations of the day before Kit shares his video, I want to talk about, of course, also Museveni's involvement in what has been happening in Sudan in general. I don't want to say South Sudan or any Sudan. They're all Sudanese people. So despite, of course, the controversial seems coming.
Exactly. That's how you now separate them, except they're two different people. They only became two different people. I know the last 10 years when they had this civil war and the country split up. So exactly, still the same people. Exactly, Joe.
Mm-hmm. So we have Museveni, of course, despite the criticisms going on online from Sudanese people, from Ugandans, about him deeply being involved in what is happening in the genociding of the Sudanese people. He still took his coon ass to Uganda with his hat, with his favorite hat. And let's listen to what they had to say about his visit.
Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni on Thursday arrived in the South Sudanese capital of Juba for a visit. Museveni's visit to Juba comes amid tension in the oil-rich East African nation after Riek Machar, who serves as one of the country's vice presidents, was arrested in the capital towards the end of last month. Museveni was received at Juba International Airport by President Salva Kiir.
Two morons running a country. Literally, two morons running a country. This other guy peed on himself and they had a journalist arrested because he's too old to just hold his pee. Can't go to the toilet after the meeting. And then we have this other guy who... Have you seen Museveni talk, you guys? Like, have you seen, leave alone this, have you seen Museveni talk? Like, seriously, without the cameras and everything? When you talk about illiteracy, this is the level of illiteracy. And it makes a whole lot of sense why the rest of this is Israel and the people in control of power globally. They like this type of idiotism, if there's such a term. Idiotism. This is just idiotism. This is mediocrity we have in front of our eyes. Two old coons killing people, and they have been in power. And they despite people complaining, if really the US cared about human rights as they claim, right, and the rest of the world, they care about human rights, Museveni should not be allowed to be here because Africans in general are seeing what Uganda is doing. Together with the president of Sudan, they are collaborating to kill and displace Sudanese people. If this was really human rights, so much cared for, we shouldn't see any of this happening. But because that is what they want, you're going to do what we want you to, You've been in power for the last 36 years. Do you want us to appoint the next president? Oh, no, don't worry, sir. I'm going to do what you want. Huh? You know, the mainstream media captured you pin on yourself. Are you gonna do what we want or you won't? Don't worry, sir, I'm gonna do it. And then they come here back to us talking crazy to us as Africans. You know, we need guy. I don't even know what to say, but Africans need to wake up. The moment we start seeing this coming to us, gathering, talking, we need to have stones ready, whatever, because we don't have guns, but we can stone them. Do you know what a stone can do? A stone can do a bigger damage than even a
Sure does.
bullet.
Sure does. I seen the way y'all stone stuff. Boy, God, y'all, wow, that stuff be crazy. You kill somebody with that. You kill people when y'all stone people. That's crazy. I never thought stoning would really work because I heard it from the Bible. I said, stone? How you stone somebody? That sounds stupid. Then I seen the videos of you guys in Kenya doing this stuff like the old, and I'm like, wow, that's crazy.
I know. I'm gonna share that video. Big Cheese, I know what you're talking about. I'll show it to you before I get to wind up with the last conversation of the UN being concerned about Niger quitting to fight, of course, with their fake groups. You know, that is they're still quitting, of course, these fake organizations. But I want to share the
Fake
video.
NGOs.
Yeah, Big Cheese is still feeling sad about this video. So we had, of course, the American
What
preacher
video?
to Kayole, and he said Jesus is black, and people got so mad. So when I'm talking about,
Yeah, sure. I never seen it. I came late. I came late yesterday, so I didn't see what you. I seen the end of it, Joe. I never seen it.
so I'm gonna say it again because you just talked about
Yeah,
stoning. That's what I'm talking about. Stoning can do a lot of damage. Stop playing with
yeah.
Africa, man. So if we were to do the same to Museveni and the rest of these spoons always appearing to us, giving us false slogans, stoning. You know, a bullet is quick, yes, but stones can do damage. Trust me.
And that look like them Hebrew Negroites, ain't it?
Yeah, pardon.
I don't know. Those guys look like them Hebrew Negroite guys from America. Those guys that they stoned and said Jesus like. I like them Hebrew Israelite guys. I don't know, but go ahead.
Because they have something Israel, whatever written.
I thought so. Yeah, those are Hebrew Negroites.
Huu ni mmoja kati ya walioumizwa. Naona ile ni jiwe.
This is one of the people that has been hurt. That is what he says. He was stoned on his face with a stone. Stop playing with on a face. Don't play with stones.
Akagonga usoni. Kwa kuhubiria watu wetu tu ni watu wa maana na wao ni wana wa Israeli. Na Yesu Kristo mwenyewe ni mtu mweusi kama nyinyi. Akagonga.
He says Jesus is black like you people, and immediately he said that someone threw something on them. Like, what do you mean? You're still saying Jesus is black?
Sorry, akagonga mawe.
All of them. We went to a church yesterday. We were teaching outside. As soon as the church heard Jesus was black, they were infuriated. We were just reading scripture. They got so mad. They threw rocks. Why? Because a lot of you in Kenya hate yourself. You hate the way you look. You hate anything black. Why? Because it upsets your European colonizers.
Yeah, and Kayole is a very dangerous place, being honest. Personally, I myself, I've grown up in Nairobi, but I can't go to Kayole myself alone. I can't. It's considered a very dangerous place, number one, full of thugs, full of...
but that's how deep the indoctrination goes. Think you'd be happy? Okay, Jesus looks like me. No, we want the white people. What are you saying? Now let Airtime go over there talking that Jesus is black stuff. See what happened to her.
It's crazy, man. That is how deep indoctrination has really. I know personally, looking at where it comes from, I'm not shocked because I know that region very well. This is the same place where people are easily bought out to, because that's the same. I'd say not really the same place, but near to where my dad had bought a land. So the goons and because this is a slum. This is one of the third largest slums, I think. Yeah, I think after Kibera we have Kayole and I think Dandora, if I'm not wrong. This is one of the second largest slums in Kenya.
Why is he buying land by slums? I'm good. You
was not
keep
by
that.
a slum. It was not by a slum really, but it was, I'd say, 20 minutes walk from the slums. It's, I don't know how to
Okay.
really, but this is how the lands are literally divided, right? Of course,
Okay.
you've seen this in, look at try imagine with the South Africans, right, where we have the white, the road separating the white
Yeah,
residents.
yeah, yeah.
So
That, but that don't be no 20 minutes. That'd be like right across the street.
So I'd say that type of shape, but really it's a 20-minute walk to where
Okay.
we the land. So
Okay.
we had some goons who were bought out of that slum by Ruto so that they can vandalize our houses, torture
That's
people.
great.
Yeah, and then we had to move. My dad had to sell the land away because we couldn't stay there because our lives were
Exactly.
every
Right.
day,
Yeah.
every day. So we had to literally move. So it's crazy. Personally, I'm not shocked seeing it coming from that kind of a place. These are poor people, very deep into religion. These are people who are gonna eat kales all the days of their lives, but they'd rather have a tithe. They'd rather have a tithe every Sunday. They'll not eat meat. Okay?
They're not eating all this poverty, and that's how the mind works. So they know their minds are already enslaved. They're running around. They're running around here, stoning people because they don't even want Jesus to be black. It tells you, hey guys, it tells you in your Bible that Jesus. It's in your Bible. It's written there. Your Bible. I know they gave you a fake image, but in your Bible, they didn't even in the Bible tells you he's black. Because common sense would tell you this dude ever existed. I know he didn't exist, but this dude he was in Africa, guys. That's Africa he was running around in, doing these big miracles and all this other goofy stuff he was doing, right? Turning fish into wine or whatever, walking on the water without no shoes, whatever the hell he was doing, right? So, what kind of nonsense they said he did. But that was in Africa, guys. That's Northeast Africa. And at that time, the Africans still ruled that part of Africa, okay? They still ruled there.
It's
Okay?
crazy. It's crazy. It is crazy. But let me share the video you just shared with me as we literally
I got
get
it.
people to winding up. It's insane, but that's how deep indoctrination is. I see Big Cheese says, I'm sorry you are torn, but the fake Jesus is black. Please don't hit me with the head. On the head with the bricks in Selma. Be careful, man. Because I remember saying what when she was being told that she used to get mad. Like I don't know if she's changed on that one.
No, now she don't want to let the Jesus go, but now Irta said Jesus is black, right? She at least can. You're right. She did get mad when you said it, but now ask Irta. Irta's coming out the joke, but Irta telling that Jesus is black. Right? She at least gone that far. She at least come that far now. Okay. She don't want to let his butt go yet, but at least she said he's black now.
I know, that's right. Shout out to John Mosquito. He says if it isn't the rude, disrespectful Kenyan girl on TikTok from yesterday, that's me. What's up? That's me. Hi, John Mosquito. How you doing? Just because you pulled a bad request, so don't blame me. How do you listen to Akon? I'm sorry. How do you just
that song was horrible. The 50 Cent song was horrible. Even Akon, oh man, who told him he should be a singer? This dude can't even sing. I like this. I ain't never like no Akon, nothing.
Even if I was Ibrahim Tara, I'm not gonna take those credits. What's that? Akon, Ibrahim Traore. What the heck? Can you sing or just get off the booth? Do something with your life. That is what you can do.
No, he can't sing. He was singing over. He would just sing hooks with rappers. He never had like no song by himself singing because he can't sing. It's horrible.
I didn't like it for shit. So John Mosquito, next time do better. Kindly, okay? Learn from Jibba Jabba and Keith, I'd say. But I also see shout out to Kejas Williams. Hope you're doing amazing today. He says they call Roland, Martin, and Joy Raid a tether. I don't know who they are, but shout out to Sister Sinovia. I also see John Mosquito says they were calling King Simon, King Tether. It had me dying in the comment section. And I also see John.
Okay. I forgot about that, Simon. That's one of the conscious community dudes, right? I ain't seen that King Simon guy like in 8 or 9 years. That's the guy who used to be with Sarnetta and all them comment, right, General Mosquito? Like, so he was doing a show and they kept calling him King Tether. You're not Black American, you're a Tether. Get out of here. King Tether. That's funny. Go ahead, go.
Joe was says these fools would be calling me General Tether, these bastards. And I also see Keisha says the Zionists are still trying to get TikTok. They can suppress off free speech, so that they can suppress off free speech. I also see Big Cheese earlier on the comment, he said, "Forgive me, family, but after watching that Kenyan Black Jesus video and the Marvin Soap close the doors video, it's so upsetting. It leaves me shook at this ignorance of our people. I hope we
It
will not."
does. Joby messed me up with that video yesterday. I looked on the end, I was like, what? Well, that messed my mind up. I said, God, imagine how deep the indoctrination goes when somebody tells you that God looks like you, whether he's fake or not. They saying, yeah, no, he's you, looks like you. And you go crazy, start stoning people. That's how messed up. That's what I told you. That's what white privilege is. That's what white privilege. That's why white people go anywhere in Africa and live better than African people. Because most Africans' minds are just messed up. Hey, look here, dude. It's right in your Bible right here. See, he has feet of brass. That's black. That's brown. And woolly hair. That's African hair. We the only people with woolly hair. You understand that? White people, Indian people, Asian people, they don't have woolly hair. Only us. See, this in your Bible. See, read this. I know you've been given a fake picture of some European white man, with blue eyes, blonde hair, but that's not in your Bible because they couldn't do. They didn't make the picture till later. The Bible was written before they made the goofy fake picture, so they couldn't go back and change the Bible text to portray the picture. The picture's called indoctrination. Okay, that's not real. The Bible's telling you right here he's black, woolly hair. That picture you got on your wall doesn't have woolly hair. He has straight hair. Okay, that picture you're looking at is straight hair. You have woolly hair. Okay, it was said that in your Bible. I don't care. I've seen the white man forever.
Good. But let me share the video you shared with me as I literally wind up. Sinovia says, I have no loyalty to white Jesus nor black Jesus. You guys can keep your Jesus.
Words of a man with an international arrest warrant for.
Where have I seen this guy? I've not seen this guy in a while. I don't know. I can't remember. I saw his. Okay.
War crimes and crimes against humanity. I'm speaking of Netanyahu. He is a mass murderer. He is a killer. He commits war crimes, and he has control over American foreign policy and over American domestic policy now. That's the fact. The U.S. government is run by Israel, by the Israeli government. Why and how? It's a little hard to say, but it is the unbelievable fact that this brazen.
You're forced to speak the obvious now. I've been telling you, isn't it funny how these new black media morons like me and Big Cheese said forever, Tariq won't mention the Israelis. This Jason Black moron won't mention the Israelis. This fake Professor Black Truth. None of them want to mention the cats. So this gentleman just telling you the truth. That's why we don't have health care in America that's free, guys, like Israel has. Our tax dollars go to pay for Israel's health care. Can you imagine that? So when you go to Israel, their health care is free and state of the art. Some of the best in the world, but it's free for them. You know why? Because they control this country. That's why our money goes to support them. Their colleges are free. Not just the regular schools, their colleges are free. You know why? Because our tax dollar pays that. So while you got Philadelphia and LA now starting to look like a scene out of Mad Max, Israel, it's all modern and nice. You know why? Because all your tax dollars goes there. Because remember, they own all your media. It's all the propaganda stuff that you get comes from their fake media. And if you tell about, they own Hollywood. Now that everybody's finally starting to admit it now. When you said that you were supposedly somehow anti-Semitic by just telling the truth, They own all the media, your newspapers, your news stations, your TV stations, all of them. I mean, globally, not just America, globally. You go to France, they own it. England, they own it. Russia, they own it. Germany, they own it. They own all of it, everywhere. So you get their propaganda, and it always goes against your best interest. But when you bring this up, I'm not being hateful. See, that's why YouTube cannot stop me from monetizing. So I haven't cursed. You guys know that I haven't do no cursing. I haven't done any cursing at all the last 2 weeks. So now everybody's starting to actually point this out. Like Joby said, the Houthis. Why are we bombing the Houthis? What did they do to us? Oh, nothing. Oh, because of Israel. Because the Houthis are saying we're not going to allow this genocide in Palestine to continue. And so since they said that and started shut down those shipping lanes, now, of course, the cat said, hey, you go bomb the Houthis. And, of course, that's what we did. Because America is controlled because of this fake banking, this fake paper we got called the American dollar, created by the Federal Reserve Bank. All these fake banks are owned by these same people. Okay? They own the financial system globally. So I tell you, so when you say you got an independent country, and all this other, China's independent, Russia's independent, that's all lies. Everybody's under the same banking scam, controlled by these same people. So now the evidence is starting to come out. But I said it forever because we get banned and shut down and we shadow banned. But when you find the truth, that's what it is. You got to call a spade a spade. You know? And my mother used to say that, but she never explained. I said, dang. And my grandmother said, man, baby, your mama is anti-Semitic. I said, well, you raised her. What are you talking about? I said, that you raised her. I ain't got nothing to do with that. Because my grandma was a Bible nut. Remember, went through.
Your grandma was messed up. No, I'm sorry, but your
yeah, she's messed up. What? Yeah, but yeah, she's messed up. But she messed up is an understatement, Joey. She was effed up, effed up in the head. Right? I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna call a spade, effed up in the head. But it's starting to become too. It's starting to become too. They put it in your face now because the cat's out the bag. It's too much. Unless you're an idiot, you got to be able to notice this now. That's why they want us to go to war with Iran. You guys will be stupid. Whatever propaganda they'll give you on their media, they own it. To have your babies go fight another war for these people. The Iraqi war was because of them. The Syrian war was because of them. The Afghanistan war was because of them. Going into Libya was because of them. Barack Obama didn't control nothing. They told him to go into Libya. That was his handlers. The cats. The cats. Who this man is telling you. The cats. They're not just control our foreign policy, our domestic policy. That's why we don't have that in the United States. That's why we don't have no health care. Our health care sucks. We got great hospitals, but can't nobody afford them. We got homeless in the street. We could have been fixed. There should be no homeless people in America ever. All our money goes to them and support all these dumb wars. We got China that they built. Now China has now flying cars. Have you guys seen it? China's now authorized flying vehicles. So, America should have been at that, but all our money's been going to fight these wars for who? The hacks and steal all this money. So 20, 30 years of underdevelopment, and you're not going to get it back. They know it. America's done. That's why I keep telling you, America is done, guys. It's a declining empire. So what you see Trump and them doing in the oligarchs, because you don't know, you don't live in a democracy. That's all a lie. It's all propaganda. Now they're stealing everything until the collapse happens. That's the reason for the tariffs. That's the reason for all these wacky policies, because the oligarchs are trying to steal the husk off a dead carcass. So America is collapsing. So they're trying to steal the remaining husk of it before it completely collapses. That's what you see happen. Like I told people, these mega morons, I said Elon Musk is a fraud. Trump has never made any money. Never. I told you, do the research. He's a failed businessman. Nothing he's ever done has ever gained a profit. So how is Trump a billionaire? Oh, let me understand. Let me explain the system to you like I did years ago. I stopped doing this. Let me explain the system.
Quick,
So he would get. Go ahead, Joe.
kindly make it quick.
Yeah, well, I'll do that tonight then. Yeah, because Trump and Elon. That's why Elon Musk just. I just do this real quick. I just say this. That's why Elon Musk just got a loan off his stock price, right? Because Tesla's about to collapse. Because he's never. Elon Musk is a fraud. His money's fake. He hasn't built anything. So what he did, because he understood in another week the Tesla stock price was going to come and it was going to flop. And so that was going to plummet his stock. So what he did, he took Tesla and put it under another one of his fake companies so it would absorb the loss, right? And so that's what he's done with Twitter, because he's all bankrupt. And that's the same thing Trump would do. Trump would do bankrupt. How many bankruptcy did Trump have? 5, 6? So what they do, they would get the money, spend it, and then refinance the debt. But Trump has never made any money. So they would get loans to supply their lifestyle. So when the business collapsed, they would refinance the debt. So they've been living off debt. They've never lived off any money that they've made. It's all been debt. It's smoke and mirrors. Trump is a failure. But since he's controlled by the J, they built him up. And look at Trump. He's a businessman. He's great. Blah, blah, blah. Because most people are stupid. They're morons. They don't understand that Trump is a phony. He's a fictitious of the Israeli media. It's fraud. I told you why they wanted to make him God so they can get him in the office. And now he's destroying the country, which they wanted him to do. And they wanted him to go to war with what? The Houthis and Iran. For who? Like the gentleman just told you, for Israel. Trump is a puppet, guys. Just like Biden. It doesn't make a difference who comes in, who doesn't. They control both parties in the United States. That's it, Joe.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to share the video tonight on the Africa Today show. We'll maybe probably start with that. As we get into the conversation we shall be having aligned for you guys tonight. So stay tuned. Later on the Africa Today show, we'll be getting deeper into that. Shout out to Jiba Jaba, Karibu Sana. As I wind up, I see Sister Sinovia says, I have no loyalty for white Jesus. Big Cheese says, my granddaddy said Jesus was white and he stood on that. And also see...
They do. Hey, let me say something quick. They do, because that's my ex-wife's family. I said, why y'all got this white man up in your church? The Jesus in the Bible says, well, that don't mean nothing. That don't mean nothing. It does. You worshiping this thing. They didn't want to admit that they worshiped that white man, and they knew it was white, so they never took it down, and they never took it down in their house either. I said, I told you the truth. They just got mad at me, like almost like the people stone people in Kenya. My wife's family got mad at me.
Oh my goodness. I also see Sinovia says you should be demonetized for using the N word. That is you, Keith.
I didn't use the N word, Sinovia. So you kick rocks.
Jarvis Peter says I'm not gonna play no Akon music. Yesterday, Joby said she's not playing no request from a guy that eats chitlins and chicken feet. Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Not like chicken feet. You mean people. And Joby got it wrong. Joby said, feed a pig. Who eats feed a pig? Joby is pig feet. It's not feed a pig. Joby is pig feet.
Yeah, what are you guys understood it? That's not all I was meaning. I can't say it correctly because it's very messed up food. That is some fucked up guy. I'm not eating that. I'd rather eat the goat and the cow chitlins, not the pig. God,
he doesn't eat none of it, Joe. It's all doo-doo.
I know, but just like Byron Scott said, I love me some chitlins, not the
did Byron Scott say that? I know he said that. Did Byron say that?
He said that It's crazy, man. But anyway, family, coming to the end of today's conversation. Thank you so much for tuning in.
I'm back and join Airtime, guys.
Yeah, catch up
Airtime will be back in 20 minutes.
talking about. You guys can poker with the Black Jesus and all that, maybe.
Yeah.
But much love. Have yourself a beautiful day. I'm gonna finish up with the jam I started with. This is Jovi Jov with the boy, and see you guys later. After your turn, we'll be back with the Rhythm Scoop Show. So tune in and see what we shall be talking about as well.
Malifisa nusa fake vans. He game na take we advance. Play with Jovi, take a chance. Funny mogul only fans. That is like a November. I'm in love with